All right, what's up, guys? Welcome to Foreign and Domestic. It is good to be here. I would say it's great that it's a Sunday night, but that means I got to go to work. So, yeah. But with that being said, let me throw it over to Alan to get us started off right.
Oh, absolutely, man. Thank you everyone for showing up. So we got a couple of good people already on the panel, people rolling into the side chat. I would like to take the moment here and see. Oh, dang, looking a little rough. Looking a little rough. Kingpin, sir, would you do us the honors of reciting the Pledge of Allegiance?
I'll do my best. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Excellent, sir. Excellent.
Excellent. Thank you very, very kindly for that. The first person that I would like to welcome here at Forward and Domestic is the YouTube auditor. You could go eat a double bowl of dicks. Yes, a double bowl. Take your fill, please. Also, like to welcome Antonio, Armament and Axes, Bearded CB, Firearms 101, Jerry Parker, Keith Gregory, Ozzy Osbourne, the one, the only reloading from the hot pot, the angry, the Texas outlaw, thoughts of an old soldier, the composer himself, Alaskan Ballistics, Andy 79Z28. Man, the chat is just starting to fill up and fill up. Good to see everybody jumping in already. Rich White out there. Thank you. You honor us with your presence.
Absolutely. Room's filling up fast. That's good. Good deal. Jamie, what's going on with you, man?
Not much, man. Thanks for having me. Thanks for the link. I've been working on some bullets and some scales, and working on a video or two. So hopefully you'll see some stuff come up across the thing here shortly. Hope everybody had a great week.
Awesome. Kingpin, how you doing, man? It's been a little bit since we've seen you. How's things going?
Not too shabby, man. Just working. Glad to be with such a fine group of people here. Totally an honor. So thanks for having me.
Absolutely, man. Always good to have you on. And Alaskan Ballistics, you did not trigger me, sir, by any means of the matter. Absolutely not.
No, we know you you use what tools are necessary in order to, get ballistics. They're just never quite. Thank you. The illustrious Pop's Quest, making furniture doing swan dives from a forklift, Mr. Pop's Quest. That was classic. Absolutely loved it. Thank you, Max. Thank you. Yep, she's coming back in, and the girlfriend's loving it.
Would you care to expand on that a little bit?
Not necessarily, but I would like to welcome RTT out there. The man himself, the man, the myth, the legend, Lakeview Outdoors. Man, good to see a lot of good people out there, man. This is the one place that I go every week that I can, where I pretty much like the majority of everybody, and that just doesn't happen. I just don't like people in general. So, thank you all.
That's a very good point, Alan. Yeah, there's very few places I can go that I can actually say I like everyone out there. This is one of them.
Yeah, angry. Everything had grown out for a little while, and I did a little something for for Justin's final mission, and it's finally growing back. Luckily, it's finally growing back for most people. Without it, I do look like Uncle Fester. I just lack the ability to light up a light bulb with my mouth.
I don't think anyone here wants to see you stick anything in your mouth. Just saying. I think we'll all have flashbacks of Jan is gay.
Yeah, and the things that typically come out my mouth offend people anyway. So, you know, whatever. Softies. Gray Note. Good to see Gray Note out there. With quite literally, when you gonna draw the line in the sand.
We all keep saying it. People got to step up.
We've got, you know, in typical fashion, now we've got senators that can verbally incite riots, but nothing's going to ever happen to them. And I think that that's absolutely pathetic. They took our former president's words and twisted them into something that they weren't, and tried to say, oh, well, we need to impeach him because he was trying to incite a riot, where we've got current sitting senators that can say everything like direct about inciting a riot that is not only just completely, utterly nauseating, but is against the law and nothing. Yeah. Why are we not impeaching Maxine Waters? It does not make any sense to me at all. Why, if they're a Democrat, they can say it, but if they're a Republican and they say it, all hellfire and brimstone breaks loose.
It's insane. Absolutely nuts. Because if we do anything, it's domestic terrorism. They say anything, it's not. And if we do anything about it, then we're racist.
Yeah, they don't want to see us riot, because then it won't be peaceful. Oh, that's not peaceful rioting. That's domestic terrorism. Or that's ladies and gentlemen, I don't know why the crazy Scotsman would allow armament and axes in the room, but I do understand why he would allow RTT, guns and gear. How's it going, big guy?
What's up, man? How you doing?
How you doing? Did you shed a tear, or did you even see Scotsman's latest video?
I got home about 4 hours ago. I haven't really looked at much of YouTube since Friday night. Or since like Friday late afternoon.
It might wound that little spot in you that some people call a soul. I don't know what we call it, but
oh, I don't have one of those.
That's why you fit in with the rest of us.
I don't have one of those. What? Let me look.
What do you got to Google it?
The first thing is the Google do I have a soul? That's the first thing. The second thing is Scotsman.
Well, yeah. What is a soul? No, it
yeah. Hey Google, what is the soul that people speak of?
The soul that people speak of is a car made by Kia.
Good one.
It doesn't run quite as good as the bottom of your shoe that is also considered a sole.
And there's no Glock hate. There's no Glock hate. I got nothing but love. Nothing but love. You'll see. You'll see if you've watched the video. You see. I have nothing but love.
No, it was just durability testing, and I mean, everybody knows Glocks are durable, right?
I mean, I gave Matt a shout out too in the video. I mean, come on. I gave everyone their due.
I didn't watch the video yet. I watched Daniels when he was dragging it behind the mower. It looked like he backed over it, but the one thing he didn't do that I didn't see, that he didn't turn the blades on. That's what he should have done. That's the test there. Run it through the mower.
I do have a question for you, though, Scotsman.
Yeah.
Well, in your video, when Daniel came across the stream with the gun tied to the back, and I'm asking for some inside baseball. So if I'm out of line, you can tell me. But was that genuine? Did the gun really come off in the stream, or did you guys throw it in the stream?
Oh man, that was buried in the stream. That was a pain in the ass. I had to literally suffer by sticking my hand inside that dirty, muddy water to get that thing out of there.
Did you say that water cold? And Daniel said, "In it deep too." We've all heard it. Come on.
Hey, hey, I'm just doing testing for everyone out there. I want to make sure people understand what a Glock can stand up to and what it can't stand up to.
I'm gonna have to. I'm 2 minutes and 45 seconds, 2 minutes and 28 seconds in, and I still have yet to see Scotsman shoot a gun.
Well, at least you haven't seen like 6 commercials.
Now, I never said I was going to shoot the Glock. I never said I was shooting anything. I said I was testing.
It's crazy that the slide fell off.
Oh, it's more than just a slide, the whole thing.
Yeah, did you even find the recoil spring in it?
We did. We found a lot of pieces. When it was all said and done, I'm gonna say there was probably close to 30, 40 pieces. It was pretty well beat up.
You got to tell me, Scotsman. I know you had joy in your heart. I know you did. I just know you did, to see that Glock tortured and destroyed. I know you did.
When you get to the end of the video, and I don't want to spoil it, so I don't know if Matt, have you got to the end yet?
No, I actually shut it off. I didn't want to sit here and watch it while we were.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't want to spoil it for you, but Chris, yeah, there was a little bit of satisfaction, but you'll have to wait to the end of the video to see the satisfaction.
What was it like, that old video about litter with the Indian and the tear in his eye? Alan's probably old. Jamie and Alan are probably old enough to remember that commercial. But
And mush.
I remember the commercial too. Yeah.
Actually, I know the guy's name. His name is Jay Silverhills.
oh, the Indian, the American.
Yes.
No, that's the guy. That's the man that cried the first tear. Jamie knew the man that actually cried the very first tear, and that was Jamie Silverhero.
Drano, if you want to spend the money on doing that to a Shadow 2, by all means, please go ahead. I would love to see it. This was an expensive video for me, probably one of the most expensive ones I've ever done. And yeah, if you wanna go ahead and spend that kind of money on a Shadow 2 and do the same test, please go right ahead.
You can send me the
Iron Eyes Cody.
That would be.
I got that wrong.
Sacrilege. I mean, a Glock's like Tupperware. A Shadow 2, that's like a hot woman. I shot his. Trust me. I wanted to steal that woman. Woohoo!
Yeah, man. I'm not sending you my Shadow. If someone wants to send you a Shadow, they can. You'll love it. You'll fall in love.
Yeah, Rich White's got it there, Jamie. Jay Silverheels was Tonto on the Lone Ranger.
Yeah.
Have you shot a Shadow 2 before, Matt?
Have I shot a what?
A Shadow 2?
No.
No. See, that's the thing. You ever shoot one? If someone wants to send you one so you can shoot one, you'll fall in love. You will fall in love.
I just want you to send me the leftover pieces of the Glock.
Oh. I have to ask Daniel if he still got them or not.
I'll make a gun out of it.
Good luck.
Okay, well, I haven't watched the whole video, so.
Well,
Thanks for
Glock-
stopping in, Angry.
There was some after stuff we did as well, so that's not completely all on video. I didn't want to make it 20 minutes long, so we may have hung it up in front of the steel target and put some rounds downrange just to finish it off.
Are you telling me that Daniel actually hit a target?
He actually hit it a couple times.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, I was not prepared for that.
I seen him in his video hit it from the moving lawnmower a couple times. So, you know, hey.
And that lawnmower, that's a bad lawnmower.
That's cool. I noticed it's like zero turn, but it has a steering wheel and not the levers, which isn't that common. But I remember many years ago, we had a match where you had to sit on a lawnmower. Somebody would put it in low gear at idle, and you had to shoot from it. That was an interesting match. But
I have not shot the Sig X5, Pop, so I'm not sure, man. I'm sure it's nice. I haven't shot one yet, though.
I want to talk about Idaho Rogers USMC's comment right there. J.M. Browning, most copied guns ever. Not just that, Idaho, they have his designs have evolved into everything we see today. Like without the 1911, I doubt anybody would be talking about a Sig Legion 5X or a Glock or a CZ Shadow 2. So got to give the man props.
what about the Browning high power? Look at how many, and you know, this is a very interesting thought there, Jamie. You think about the evolution of guns, and John Moses Browning was an innovator back in those times. Look what he did in those times, and look at all the guns that have taken from his design and manipulated them one way or the other and used his basic ideas to come up with our firearms today.
Yeah,
Honestly, I think he's one of the best gun inventors ever. So
I would go one step farther and say the best, the most prolific. Yeah.
And imagine this. I was just going to say, imagine this. Imagine if he was alive today engineering guns. Wow. That's a thought. With today's technology, you know what I mean?
Hey,
Go ahead, Matt.
Bald. If somebody's not copying your crap, it's because it's crap.
This is very true. If it's not being copied, there's something wrong.
So but no, onto the gun manufacturers. John Moses Browning. Honestly, John Moses Browning, as far as like what I would say the top three, John Moses Browning, Mikhail Kalashnikov, and Gaston Glock. Because those three guns are three of the most defining firearms in at least modern history.
Hey, Tom. Uh, I hope I do too, Idaho. Those are absolutely gorgeous. The fit on those things is absolutely impeccable. I mean, yeah. I would.
Bearded just said something, and go ahead. I just don't mean to interrupt.
I just wanted to agree with Rich White. Carry on, Double A.
I was just going to say, Bearded CB, he said that the CZ75 is basically an updated, upgraded copy of the Browning High Power. And you look at the two and you can see it. I mean, you know,
Absolutely.
It's all there. I agree with you there, RTT. Kalishnikov, hell, I'll even go Eugene Stoner. I mean, all of them, and it's so funny. Look at Stoners and Kalishnikov. Look at how many guns use what they came up with. Look at John Grant. Look at all it. Yeah. So I said, you know, people try and
I give Gaston Glock a big kudos, simply because you could take the same design and scale it up or down and make a different model out of it, and it's the same exact thing anyway. The Glock is a Glock is a Glock is a Glock.
Yep.
Yeah, the same thing. The same reason people hate Glocks is the same reason they're a great gun. You know, they haven't innovated in whatever 30 years. But I also haven't had to buy a holster for any new generations either. But, you know, like somebody out there said something about, you know, Gaston Glock, he, you know, first time out, boom, made one of the most copied designs and most reliable, you know, pistols in history. But same, you know, John Moses Browning, like who was said earlier, you know, the CZ, you know, some of the CZ models wouldn't exist without the high power. Not a striker-fired polymer pistol today would exist, I would wager, without the Glock 17 and Glock 19 ever being invented. And same goes for the AK-47. There's a design that he designed it and never had to change it. Like, it just it's had changes, don't get me wrong, but it's never had to be changed. You know, and so many guns have taken that piston system. So many guns have taken, you know, various things from that. It's I mean, these are amazing people. Eugene Stoner, in his own right, I guess I'm not much on the bandwagon for Eugene Stoner, but you know, I look at the AR-15 as something that has always had to be, not wanted to be, but has always had to be changed, updated for at least 30 years.
Well, it's probably one of the most versatile ones for upgrades and changes. And I mean, it's a Lego piece.
Oh, absolutely.
It's a fun Lego piece.
But I agree. Now it is. Now it's got that versatility that is nearly unmatched. But in its early onset, yeah, it needed tweaking here, tweaking there, messing with this, changing that.
I mean, it still comes with a button. It still comes with a "oh shit, I failed again" button right on the side there. You know, they still haven't quite got it right to where it can't survive without that forward assist.
You know, I don't think I've ever used mine. I'm one of them people that it didn't work, rack another one. You know what I mean? You know, with Stoner, I can say this. I mean, you got to remember when he was designing this and everything, and he was rushed. It was rushed into, you know, a production it was rushed into the war before it was properly tested or vetted, or, you know what I mean? They adopted it, and it was like, And, you know, for one, the wrong powder they used in Vietnam and, you know, clogged the disc. Oh, they said, oh, you don't have to clean it. Bullshit. You got to clean every gun. I don't care what it is. Well, an AK, yeah, you can get away with it for a lot longer. But, you know, and you're right. I mean, you look at it, how much it's been improved and done in the past 30 years. And gosh, look what we got now. And like Scotsman said, it's a Lego kit for a gun guy. You know what I mean? Build it any way you want kind of thing.
Oh, absolutely. And it wasn't to detract anything from the design. I mean, the design, I think, has flaws. I don't really like the action. I don't really like the gas system. But it's America's gun. It's America's gun. It's going to be the #1 battlefield pickup if we ever go to war within the United States. It's the Lego of guns. If you have something that fits yours, you have something that fits Alan's, and you have something that fits mine, because they're all the freaking same, you know, for the most part. Yeah. So
yeah, for the most part, yeah. For the most part, yeah. Well, if it's a custom build or, you know, different ones use. Okay, this gas block might not fit that, or you're using a commercial tube and not a mil spec tube. But yeah, you're right. Magazines fit. They all fit. The ammo's all the same, pretty much. So, well, not. I'm talking 223, 556. You know what I mean? But
see, that's the one thing with an AR versus like an AK. I haven't heard too many issues with AK mags, but you get tons of issues with AR mags, depending on what they are. Don't buy cheap Chinese magazines.
The only mags I've ever had problems with my AKs are Pro Mag. That's it.
I'm trying to think. I don't know how many magazines, all different manufacturers, and I don't think I've really had much problem with any of them. When it comes to AR mags, I've had great luck with Magpul and Mission First Tactical. Had great luck with those mags.
This PMag doesn't function very well.
Well, stop shooting it.
No, see, that one, we tried to contact Magpul to see if they would honor their warranty, to see how good their warranty was. And unfortunately, we were told it was out of warranty.
Well, see, that's what makes High Point better than Magpul.
Right.
We just wanted to add the window, and we didn't have the window on there. We were having issues, so we added the window to make sure we could find out the problem.
Yeah, Matt, you're the first to know when equipment does not function right. What do you do to it?
Oh, you shoot that shit. Oh, absolutely. You straight silverback that thing, and if I don't like it, I destroy it. You know.
If I look at it and can't fix it, I'm shooting it.
I had a radio. I used to have 5 or 6. I used to have 5 or 6 radios, and you know, the handheld hams like Baofangs and stuff. We were out on one of our big long weekends out on the border, and I kept getting static, kept getting feedback, and it was probably as simple as just adjusting the squelch, you know, or something like that. And the guy said all I heard was, "God damn it, bang!" Right out there in the middle of the field, I ripped that fucker out of my kit, threw it on the ground, put one through it, and kept walking.
That's the best way to do it. I got a scope that I still got to take down the range and shoot. It was one that was sent for test and evaluation, and the turrets operate backwards. So yeah, we're gonna test and evaluate it with 6.5 Creedmoor going through it.
You say they operate backwards when it says right, you're going left. Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah.
Okay, I've actually seen that before. Talking about a site, my brother Derek, I told him, don't buy it, dude. Don't buy it. It's cheap. It's junk. Don't buy it. Well, he bought it. It was junk. Kept it wouldn't hold a 0. Well, the dingbat, I'm saying this lovingly, he was a newbie, and he still is a little, but man, the guy has learned so much in a fast time, and now he owns more guns than me. But he bought this thing, put it on his AR, and tightened the crap out of it, and he ended up having to drill the bolt to get it off, scarred the pick tinny rail a little, but he got it off. Well, we made a video about shooting that sight. Yeah. He says right in the video, my brother warned me. I said, I tried. So get what you pay for sometimes, everybody.
Okay, back to the designing things again. The safety on an AK. If you'll look at it and then take a look at a Remington Model 8, I think you'll see a very, very close resemblance. And the Model 8 was a John Browning design. But, you can take bits and pieces off of every gun. Like if you were to take the best features off of every gun, you could probably make a really good gun, but I don't know how much you'd have to charge for it. But yeah, I think that safety was designed by Browning.
Yeah, I mean, if you were to take all the best pieces of a gun, put it into one gun, package it in one package, I think honestly it would just look, feel, smell, and shoot just like a Glock.
I love that face you made. You guys remember the Daewoo Rifle 223 5.56? Korean. Daewoo's into everything.
Korean, yeah.
My brother bought one, and years and years ago, I took that thing apart and looked at it, and I went, "Look, that's AK, that's AR, that's AK, that's AR." And honestly, I mean, it's kind of a blend, you know what I mean? And heck of a rifle, I guess they're really reliable. I don't know. I've not had a lot of experience with it, but yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of companies out there trying to blend. Look at piston ARs. You know what I mean?
Yep.
All I can say is this: it's a machine, and we're human, and we're designing machines. We are not perfect. We will never design a perfect machine. We will never design a machine that won't break or can't break or malfunction. You know what I'm saying? And some are designed better than others, but more moving parts, the more to fail. So
yeah, I mean, that's an absolute true statement. I mean, we are human. We will design machines that fail. Just look at IO Inc.
thoughts
Yeah,
on old
they're definitely.
So how is it that High Point actually has developed a carbine that'll run and have the durability of pretty much any AK out there? You can throw it in mud, dirt, sand, it don't matter. Run the thing over with a damn truck, it'll run. You could dump sewage water down the barrel, it'll still run. I don't understand how they can have such a reliable carbine and every one of their other options in their lineup suck donkey dick.
That's funny because
there's so much fucking steel there. It just can't.
That's not steel.
There's a bunch of it on those.
Yeah, well, most of the outer frame is not steel. It's some kind of weird pot metal. And it's like this, Alan. They took a boat anchor and just milled everything out and threw parts in it. That's why, because I don't know. I agree, though. The pistols, I guess they work. They're just nasty. The carbines, I've shot many. They got a sharp recoil to them because they're straight blowback. I had a 45 that the thing kicked harder than my pistol. You know what I mean? And it was like, okay, but they work. They run. That's a mystery. I'm rubbing my chin, going, that's a mystery.
So, you ready for this?
Uh-oh.
I've had 3 high point C9s, and they've all run flawlessly.
Really?
Yes.
Well, that's what I said. I've seen many people torture test them things, and they all kind of seem to work. They're just big, ugly, clunky, and heavy, and
Yeah.
but they work.
I carried one of them for like 6 months just because it was like the one gun I had where I was like, I know if I pull this trigger, it may not go off a whole lot of times because it's only an 8-round magazine, but it'll fire that many times.
And if you mess it up, you don't care.
And with the extra weight, with the added weight, it's an exercise carrying it. So, I mean, it was a win-win.
Had to rotate hips every 3 days, but
Yeah.
Well, it's absolutely why I have a limp now. That's for sure. But
Go
Don't
ahead,
fall in the
Kingpin.
water. You're going straight to the bottom.
In the zombie apocalypse, if you only have 2 gun stores to choose from, Glock or High Point, you got to choose High Point because High Point has the carbine and Glock does not. So just for survival's sake, High Point is better than Glock.
Good point.
Well, and see, I'm going to have to agree with you to a certain extent because here's the other thing, too. When the high point fails, you still got to have something to beat them with. It's a lot heavier than a Glock.
Good point.
Matt, you're thinking, what do you got?
I'm seeing gears turning. It's like a little clock in there. Just gears turning.
I'm trying to figure out how to come back to that, because
And think about it. If Glock wanted to take over the firearms world overnight, put out a rifle, and they would be the most dominant gun company in the world.
absolutely, if they could build an even somewhat, if they could build an AR that even comes close to the reliability and standards that they hold for their pistols, yeah, they would absolutely dominate the gun world.
I can say this. Think about this. If Glock would just take the design of their pistol and actually make a carbine out of it in pistol caliber carbine. In other words, the basic design of the pistol and make a carbine out of it. People love it. People have been screaming for a Glock carbine for years. It's actually a standing joke. Come on, Glock carbine.
Well,
that's why you're starting to see more and more of these companies coming out with the designs where you just take your Glock and put it into it.
The AR would make sense because
I have a friend that has a Glock 18, and we put it in Maroni stock. And gee, you talk about fun.
So, to the YouTube censors out there, this is not a gun. This is a chassis, an accessory, not a gun.
Is that the Maroni thing?
Yeah, that's the MCK Micro Conversion Kit.
Mm-hmm.
So they sort of already make the.
It's strange when I shoot my buddies. It's like, wait a minute, my hand's in front of the barrel. It's under it, but the barrel stops here. This is where my hand's at. You know what I mean?
Right.
Then again, look at a lot of the guns like the Uzi and the Max that you were holding the suppressor.
RTT had it right. RTT had it right, and this is, it may be funny, but it actually makes a little bit of sense because if they would go AR platform, what does everybody do when they buy an AR? They tear it apart and throw a bunch of stuff that they want on there. What do they do when they buy a Glock? They tear it apart and put a bunch of new parts on it. So that's perfect for the Glock guy, is an AR that you got to tear apart and rebuild. I know it's a joke and it's kind of a cut one. You have to, throw all the parts off an original Glock to make it a real good gun. But that's what people do. I mean, we know that's why it's a joke, is because people do that. And the AR is designed for exactly that.
Yep, and that's Glock's already got that down pat to where they know they're going to have the aftermarket parts. So, it would fall right in the line with what they do. That's for sure.
Well, what if somebody like Glock made FALs, like full on 308 battle rifles?
That'd be cool. I'd like to see him build like a SCAR model.
Yeah.
I'd give them a shot, you know. I'd give them a shot. I'm not impressed with their pistols. We'll see what they can do with a rifle.
What is their? I guess their theory is we want to do one thing great. That's why we don't make rifles. We just focus on handguns. Is that like their thing?
They just captured the market. They had good advertising when they started. They got the whole law enforcement thing going for them, the blue program, and all of that. And because of how they ran that system, it just fell in place for them, and they just ran with it ever since. And they've had zero issues because of how they played the game.
Well, I think it's a little bit more than how they played the game. I mean, if Glock was a bad pistol, it wouldn't be on the market anymore. Seriously. I mean, if the thing was a piece of junk, it wouldn't be on. If you actually had to upgrade it.
I disagree. And I was having this conversation with somebody a couple weeks ago, and I think that, and I may be wrong. You're far more experienced with guns than me. So if I'm wrong, feel free to correct me. But there's a lot of trash guns on the market, and the reason that Sky still exists is because people keep buying that crap. You know, if people refuse to buy Skies and refuse to buy, even for the guys who like to drop them off a ladder into a bucket of cement to see if they'll fire and all that kind of stuff, stop buying them. Let them go out of business. I don't care about the 2A. They're a bad company. Let them go away.
I think that because there's been a lot of trash guns, and there are a lot of trash guns out there. I think that I don't think that you can that it's sort of like. I don't think you can compare the popularity of a Glock or a 1911 or, name one of the top 3 or 4 guns out there, right? I don't think that you can compare the popularity of any of those to the popularity of Sky, though. If Sky was on the same level of sales as Glock, then I think we would have a conversation, but they're not.
Let me clarify, because I guess I might have not been clear enough. I'm clearly no, Glock is a far superior gun. Glock's not a bad gun. I get it. People buy them because they run, they like them and stuff. They're not for me, and I enjoy talking about how crappy they are because I think they are a crappy gun. I think it's a good gun if you want to buy all that kind of stuff. So I'm definitely not saying Sky and Glock are on the same level. I'm just kind of like, why do we keep buying crappy guns if Jimenez guns are crap? Why are they still a company?
No, I get that. I get that part then. Yeah. It's a $180 gun. Or how much are Skies going for now? $200.
Yeah, they're
very well put. I understand that completely. Yeah, true.
I think that's a big portion of it. I actually do. I think when you take, High Point, they have a horrible reputation, and a lot of people, if they're being honest, they'll say the High Points that I shot worked pretty good. I think somebody on the panel here said that earlier. The High Points that I shot, worked pretty good, or they're not total trash. They do work. But they have a horrible reputation. Like, you can't go onto a website or a gun forum without somebody trashing on it. But they're $150. So I think that's one of the reasons. If they were a $400 gun, I would wager that High Point would have gone out of business a long time ago if they were charging $400 for their pistols.
Yeah, Sky was coming out with their marketing really strong, and did, in my opinion, really well because of their marketing. It wasn't necessarily their product that was causing that. It was their product was very inexpensive, and they were really pumping out the marketing. Uncle Jim says Sky is a Keltec copy. Well, when you're barely a halfway decent comparable gun, and then somebody copies your crap, you're going to be less than that. But yeah, I'll have to say the two high points that I've shot, and I've shot two different ones. The high point nines, they both sucked. They were terrible. They wouldn't feed for nothing. But the carbine, that was another story. The carbines that I've had the pleasure of shooting were almost a pleasure, other than they're heavier than shit. You wouldn't want to tote one of them things around for any length of time. But the Sky pistols, yeah, I would almost put them near below a high point.
I've had two Sky pistols. they're both Sky CPX2s. One was all black. The other one was a two-tone. The CPX2 that was all black ran like a sewing machine. It didn't miss a beat. The second one I had wouldn't go through a mag. I couldn't make it through a single mag without a malfunction. So, I mean, yeah, they're at best 50-50 at best. In my experience. Now, I do want to say something to the curious one out there. Bald and Curious, he said, why did the Army pick Sig? Because they were like a third the price of Glock. That's exactly why they picked it.
They gave him a better deal.
They gave him a great deal.
There you go.
As a matter of fact, they gave him such a good deal, it borderlined breaking a contract, because there was a contract made that they would stay within a reasonable amount of each other so that it was gun to gun. And Sig broke that and went bottom line. And Glock actually had to sue him over it because of an agreement they had.
I do know that, they put out the 19X. To me, that's, this is what we submitted to the military. No, it's not. Military submission had a safety on it. You want to market it to the people, market it as what you submitted to the, whether you like a manual safety or not. To me, it was like, it's a lower 19 upper, or lower 17 upper 19. That's all it is. Anyway, back to the Sky. I owned one. I bought it kind of as, okay, I got to have something to carry. The thing, honestly, it functioned great. The problem I had was my finger, and I'm a skinny dude, my fingers hitting the front of the trigger guard before that double action trigger was resetting. And I'm like, and it was atrocious trigger, and it was okay accuracy. But also, I heard that the guy that started Sky used to work for Glock. So I don't know. That's my experience with Sky. I had one, and that was enough.
No, Sky's employees are ex Keltec employees.
Okay. Literally my finger would hit the front of the trigger guard and it'd go click and reset. I'm like, are you kidding me? And the trigger pull on it was worse than any double action revolver I ever shot. So, okay. Yeah.
Go back to why Sig got the contract. Gray note says lowest bid doesn't get the contract. It's the lowest bid that meets the standards.
Exactly.
Yes. Sig came in so low that Glock went to go counter sue him against it. The problem that I had with those is that Glock wasn't going by what the standard was that they were looking for. They were looking for a modular handgun system. Glock wasn't providing a modular system like the 320 did with the grip modularity and slide modularity. That was the problem that I had with Glock's offering. I was just like, that's not what the military is requesting.
I think it depends. And I mean, everybody on here, some people out there probably have no idea who I am, and that I'm just coming off as some ignorant Glock fanboy. Everybody on here knows me, and I could give a shit less about the Glock argument. Like, it's not, it's fun for me. But I would say that it depends on where you come in on the term modularity, because they said that with the short slide, long grip, and then the grip extenders, the back straps addition and subtraction of back straps is what give you the different frame.
I got a quick question. When we're talking about military standards and government contracts and police contracts, we're all aware of the fact that our military is full of criminals and the brass, obviously, what I'm talking about. The police department, everybody hates the cops now, and everybody always hated the government. So when you guys are talking about standards, is that men in the field who have to use this to save their own life and the guy next to them, or is this Nancy Pelosi and Adam Schiff and other pencil necks making these decisions?
That's all pencil necks.
Yeah, it's all pencil necks, paper pushers, people who haven't seen combat in 2 decades. Those are all the people doing the testing.
Well, then my suggestion is take all these government standards and stop paying attention to them. If the government tells me that Glock is the best gun in the world, the last gun I'm going to buy is a Glock, just because the government sucks. That's maybe it's radical, maybe I'm stupid, but since it's not men in the field who are fighting the wars making the decisions about the weapons they carry,
I would say for the regular Army, right, the regular military, your standard like 11 Bravo, their decisions are made for them. And I agree with what you're saying. And this is something I tell people all the time. It's like, if you ever wonder what's good, right? Forget about YouTube. Forget about gun forums and websites. Look at what the special operations teams are choosing for themselves. That's I think a good standard to go by. If you look at soft guys and they're choosing Glock 19s, they're choosing a certain kind of plate carrier, they're choosing a certain kind of helmet, right? They're choosing certain kind of gear, certain lights, and whatnot. These are guys that get to choose their own stuff. The Nancy Pelosi's of the world don't get to choose it for them. So that's again, when it comes to the regular Army, they get their stuff chosen for them. When it comes to special operations units, that's, if you ever have a question on what's good, you look at what they're choosing, because they get to choose it for themselves. And these are the guys that are your top tier operators.
And you're exactly right. How many of them for years they took the 1911 because it worked?
Yep.
How many of the special ops guys for years carried 1911s and multiple calibers? You know what I mean? And I'm not saying that's perfect or nothing, but think about it. They get to choose. They chose what works.
I think MARSOC still uses the 1911.
Yeah, some of them do. Yeah. We're about halfway through. Alan, you want to run through the side chat? It's blowing up pretty good out there. We got about 50 or so watching.
It is, man. I am glad to see such great participation out there, except for my inability to speak is part of it. But Bald and Curious, of course, out there. Billy, truth be told, Bearded CB82, the fuzzy fork himself, Gray Note, Idaho Rogers, USMCA, Josh Benware, Keith Gregory, the man I'd take into a zombie apocalypse, Red October, Reloading from the Hot Pot, Rich White, SKS Hugo, Staff Master Sergeant Bulldog, Sig 226, I get that. Uncle Jim, Vanessa Kitty, Walter Davis, Wes out there, White Space Marines, man, it is just blowing up out there. Max, good to see Max out there. Sig 226, man, a lot of guys were putting that on as their sidearm.
I like who somebody out there just now said, oh God, where'd it go? Oh, Wes S said the Beretta is a solid gun. Like the one gun that unanimously every person I've ever talked to in the military hates.
And see, well,
Beretta 92.
here's the thing. Everyone that I've talked to that was in the military, they all complained about it, but they complained about it because the ones that were handed to them, that were issued to them, were ones that were already beat up to hell already.
Oh yeah, they had like a billion rounds through them.
And that's why. Like they actually like the newer ones. You know, if they had a new one in their hand, they actually like the gun itself.
Well,
They
you know,
didn't
for
like
years,
the fact that the ones they got were sloppy and had no tolerances whatsoever.
as a child, I heard, oh, yeah, that 45 1911, you couldn't hit the broadside of the barn. Well, you know why? Because most of the ones people got were old beat up ones that were so goddamn sloppy and worn out. I can tell you this, a good built 1911 is one of the most accurate pistols I have ever had the pleasure to fire. So that's 45 ACP, but I mean, when they're done right and they're tight, they work great. So yeah, you're exactly right. Yeah, they get the old beat up piece of crap that is so sloppy it's almost falling apart. Yeah.
Sounds like you're comparing women downstairs from me.
Oh, that's right.
I
Don't
was
you live
just
above a
typing
bar?
that. I was just typing that in the comment section. When they're done right and they're tight, they're right for me. Sounds like women.
You know, when they're loose, they're loose.
That was funny.
Yeah, but the triggers are so butter. They're just easy to set off.
Yeah, Scotsmen, when they're loose, they're loose. That's true. But I've never heard. Unlike women, I've never heard shooting a worn out gun compared to throwing a hot dog down a hallway.
This is true.
Stick a ham in it and pull the bone out to hit the sides. Never mind. Ouch.
Would that be like shooting a 22 LR through a shotgun?
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Oh, this went
You can actually
sideways.
get it to strike the side of it to actually set it off.
Okay, back to the question at hand.
Yeah, let Jamie get us back on track.
What is CZ going to do for Colt? Or what is Colt going to do for CZ?
How do you mean? Are they all owned together now?
CZ just bought out Colt. Or the other way
Okay,
around.
you know, I thought I heard that. Wow, that is an interesting question, Jamie. I would love to see.
It'll be interesting to see what they come up with, what they do.
What would be your forethought, Scotsman, on that?
What it'd be nice to see, well, it'd be nice to see them get back to the old school way of doing revolvers, but that's never going to happen. It's too costly, and everything's about cutting costs these days.
Real quick, when you're talking about because Remington's been sold 7,000 times since yesterday, so it's hard for me to keep up with this kind of stuff. CZ bought Colt, everything. They own all of it, period.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you.
Including military contracts, if there's any left, which I don't think there is. I would like to see.
Go ahead, Jamie.
CZ make a really good 1911. Oversee Colt from the single action army all the way up through the revolvers and make them like they used to make them, and still be where you can afford to buy them. That's the key thing, like Scotsman's saying, that what you got to get for them after you do all that. But
Well, every man's got two kidneys.
yeah,
There's a lot of money in body parts.
Yeah, you know, you can cut out half your liver and it'll grow back. So, you know, I'm not.
Probably not in your case.
No, probably not. And look who's talking, Mr. Allen. Or Scotsman.
Hey, my liver's perfectly fine, as strong as an ox.
Dude, That's my point, bearded CB, CZ 1911. Can you imagine? I mean, that would be really cool. It'd probably cost $2,000 or more, but
Yeah.
Well, that would be right in the lines of Tenfolio, wouldn't it?
It'd be right in the line of Tank Folio. And Rich White is right. Dan Weston is part of the CZ, and they do some 1911s, but again, they're pricey. They're real pricey.
So what you're saying is CZ couldn't build their own gun very well, so they had to buy everybody else.
Ouch. Ouch.
Now, what I'm saying is the CZ's already got it down pat on their end of what they have for their own firearm. They don't have to do anything else. They buy these other companies to help them.
It's like Glock buying Smith and Wesson would finally be able to make a revolver.
I don't want a Glock revolver. If Glock starts making revolvers, I'm done buying Glocks.
Y'all heard it live when it happens.
they're trying to figure out how to make one out of plastic now.
Out of plastic. How to make a plastic revolver.
Yeah. Yeah, y'all remember back when Glocks first came out? Everybody was saying, a plastic gun? Oh my goodness! You'll be able to take them through the radar at the through the X-ray at the airport and carry them on. Yeah.
I've been shooting Glocks since they first came out. The very first Glock 17s. I mean, I was real young, but I mean, I've shot every generation of Glock, and I don't know. They just have been all around good guns for their entire existence. And somebody said earlier, they're like a 6 all the way across the board. I think that's a little low number, but they're not a 10 across the board, either. They're not the most ergonomically perfect gun. Of course, I would say that no pistol is, because I'm telling you right now, like Armament and Axis said that he's a skinny guy. I guarantee you a gun fits differently in my hand than in his. Right? So I would wager to say that there's no pistol out there with an ergonomically perfect gun. So that's kind of a bad argument. But it's just some people don't like the blockiness. That's opinion, because that's how it looks. That's a visual thing. You can argue that the similar guns have 17 round or 19 round capacities or 21 round capacities versus like the 15 round capacity of like the G19. So there's a thing. Price. What's a similar CZ running, like 350?
What?
Similar CZ be like a PO9, PO7. They're right on that $499 range, depending.
$499. Okay. So they're $500 guns, so they're about the same price. Glock's a little higher. I think most people's problem with Glock has a lot to do with things that are easily said about other guns as well. Like I said, the way the grip feels in their hand. One gun's not going to fit as well in my hand as another person's hand, and things like that. I think a lot of the complaining about Glock is a bunch of nonsense, based on just personal little things, and not anything that is detrimental to the gun itself. But I think that can be said for a lot of guns, with the exception of ones that, like was mentioned earlier, like a Jimenez POS, or a Llama 1911. Those things are pure trash. So I don't know. That's why these Glock versus X gun conversations kind of amuse me.
Well, I mean, remember the sights fall off on a Glock.
Dude, that's the worst argument I've ever heard.
No, they break.
That's the worst argument I've ever heard.
One thing You said Glock didn't change much over the years. They did change grip angle a little, and they put finger grooves in Gen 1, Gen 2, they kept changing all that, I guess, trying to get the ergonomics a little better. I mean, they did try and change some of that. So
Yeah, yeah.
I was going to say, I can tell you this: the first Glock I ever fired was a first Gen 21, and it was different because the plastic that they used back then was a little more flexible. And if you limp wristed at all, I was used to shooting steel frame guns. If you and it was weird. You could feel it flexing in your hand. It was like, wow, this is different. But that's one thing they did do is change the grips, and so they tried to make it more ergonomic, I guess.
Go ahead, Kingpin. What were you going to say?
See, that's one of the problems that I have with Glock is there's Glock Gen 1, there's Glock Gen 100 and 1000, and they're all the exact same gun, except for a tweak here and there. And then even Taurus, with the G series guns and every other basically gun out there, they keep making the same guns over and over again, but they offer it in blue now, but now it's $100 extra. Now they offer it with a little bit bigger of a sight. Now they offer it with a little tiny groove cut in the handle. And we keep giving them credit for innovation when they're not. Glock's made the same gun forever. They've never changed the gun enough to say it's a different gun.
Glock was trying to be very innovative, and I did see some prototype versions of Glock revolvers. The problem that they had is that they were only 4-shooters because the cylinder was really square. They couldn't get away from that square design. They don't know what round is. So
yeah, the whole square thing in the round hole.
Well, my point is, we're the consumer, and we're in charge. And I think that we're being played by all these companies, Glock especially, because they just keep putting out the same. If Chevy, the Silverado was the exact same thing, except for it had leather seats this year. Well, it's got bigger windshield wipers next year. It's got, a bigger air conditioning, who knows, whatever, all kinds of stupid little things. But then they keep charging you for a brand new piece of equipment. I think we can make them stop that if we stop feeding into it.
So,
dude, let me say this real quick, brother. Every company does that. Car companies, gun companies. Hell, look at the 1911 over the years. Oh, look what they did to it. Oh, they lowered the ejection port. Oh, they put a beaver tail on it. It's the same gun.
That's why they call the working man a sucker.
I'm just saying that every company does that. They take an existing design and manipulate it a little bit farther in a direction that appeals to people. They all do it. I'm not sticking up for anybody. I'm just saying they all do it. That's how it works.
So Bald and Curious says he has a customer that has a G19 Gen 1 brand new in the box, never fired. I'll see if he'll sell it to you. If dude actually has a G19 Gen 1, not the first gen that was publicly released to the general public, but an actual Gen 1 G19. There was very few made, and they were all for federal agencies. The common Gen 1 is the Gen 2 for the Glock 19. If he actually has an unfired Gen 1, let me know. Seriously.
Is that good?
It's a unicorn.
You're being serious. Like, you're not making a joke. You're actually.
I'm not making a joke. No,
okay,
it's a
okay,
unicorn gun.
How many we made? How many were actually?
If I remember correctly, there was only a couple thousand made.
Yeah, then it's a unicorn. Yeah, that's a collector's piece. I mean, whether you like the company or not, but when a company brings out X amount and there's only those, yeah, you're always going to get a premium for them too, usually. So,
yeah, that's one of those guns nobody has.
But let me ask you this, and this is, it still just looks like a Glock, though, right?
It looks like the shortened. I mean, imagine the 17, the Gen 1 17, that basically smooth grip. They're just like the P80 that they re-released recently, and shorten it down to a G19. It looks the same.
Would that be considered a collector's item, or is that just something cool people would like to have?
Well, I would call it a collector's item just because it's something that was never released to the public, It was only government issued, and there was very few made. So I don't know if it's actually defined as a collector's item, but I would call it a collector's item just because of its rarity.
It's pretty cool.
A lot of people call Gen 1 G19s. They're actually Gen 2s because it's the first year the 19 was produced for the general public. And so that's why I had to make that differentiation there. But
I was just going to say, I said I fired a Gen 1 21. Was that Gen 1 or Gen 2?
They made I have to look up the 421's a 40, right?
No, the 21, the model 21, G21 is 45. Double
45.
stack 45.
That's probably Gen 2. I think they only made two or that's probably Gen 2. I have to look that one up though.
Okay, so
I thought it was Gen 1.
Say it's the first generation for the public, so technically it's the second generation, but it's still the same gun, never been fired and all that other kind of stuff. No big deal. You don't care anymore.
No, I sold my Gen 2.
Okay.
I had a Glock Gen 2. Matter of fact, the first Glocks that I was shooting on YouTube were old Gen 2 G19s. I've sold them.
All I know about that 45, the 21, it was the first year they came out with it. So whatever gen that was the first year that they brought that one out.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, I do want to mention, because there was two things. Kingpin, you were talking about they only made small changes here and there, but they try to sell us a new gun every couple of years, calling it a new generation. I don't disagree with what you're saying. I think that they do just make small changes. I argue that the only changes ever needed are maybe small changes, though. That's a personal opinion, though. I don't think that they need to change their gun. With that said, and this is my critique about people that bring up Glock, and I'm not putting words in your mouth. This is not what you said, but many people do.
Oh, speak freely, man. Don't worry about it.
Glocks suck because they only make little changes. And you never hear those same people complaining about like the Remington 870, the Mossberg 500 or 590, the AK-47, generally any AR-15 that's come out in the last 15 years. Any of these other guns out there that are super popular and a million people have them that have made little to no changes, yet the gun keeps getting more and more expensive.
Yeah, I agree. I'm probably the only one that makes that argument that screw all those other companies too, because they're jerking us around. But I understand exactly where you're coming from. Yeah, totally. And as far when you talk to me, man, there's nothing that you're gonna say that's gonna upset me or offend me. You talk to me like you say whatever you want to me, however you want to. I think that we're both grown enough to have a conversation, even if it may get heated or not or whatever. So feel free.
I just don't like putting words in people's mouths. I didn't want to say that you said Glocks suck for this reason because you didn't.
No, I'm not. I'm also not looking to fight with you. So I would never say, well, you didn't say, I understand that kind of stuff, man. So please just feel as comfortable as you can with me, man.
We're all friends here. Come on. Can't we all just get along?
I don't even like Scotsman. What are you talking about?
No one fucking likes me. Y'all are smoking crack. If you actually think anyone likes me, y'all smoking crack.
Like, I'm here to talk to you guys and Alan on.
Yeah. They just show up because I said I'm a link. It's not because they like me.
Yeah. Yeah. I owe them 4 magazines. I mean, which, by the way, they're in a box. I'm mailing them out tomorrow.
All right, cool.
And are they full of ammo? Do they have ammo in them?
Me in the email about the thing, the other thing, and the other magazine and the thing.
Yeah,
I'll let you handle that.
All right.
Uncle Jim, my Smith & Wesson revolvers didn't go through any changes.
Does Glock have factories in America, or are all their guns built overseas?
Georgia, United States, Georgia.
Snellville, Georgia.
I can't
Really?
remember the city, but in Georgia.
So
It's Snellville.
all the Glocks, let's say Austria, are actually built there. Is that what you're saying?
No, they build them. There's two. You'll find. Matter of fact, I think my 43 says USA
Says
on it.
USA right on the slide, right?
Yeah.
Huh.
There's USA and Austria built ones.
Okay.
Yeah, and I mean, if you were to ever have a shit hits the fan pistol, a standard Glock 1917 very well might be the best shit hits the fan pistol, simply because you're going to be able to get parts off of somebody somewhere.
Does
That's
it
what I
take
said.
Glock magazines?
What?
Come on, the ongoing everybody. Does it take Glock magazines? You know,
Oh, yeah,
how
it
does it take Glock magazine?
How is that a thing? How is that a thing with Glock? What is up with that? Because I've always, I've used the joke a million times with, I started my lawnmower with a Glock magazine. Like, how come Glock magazines seem to go with everything? How's that work out?
I don't know, but there's a lot of pistol caliber carbines and other things. It takes Glock magazines. It takes Glock magazines. Okay.
Well,
So-
I mean, Glock is known for those 33 round magazines for their Glock 18s. Plus drums. Plus, I mean, imagine if Magpul, as much as I hate Magpul, imagine if Magpul had like they only fit Magpul guns, right? But they had the popularity that they do today. You would hear the same thing out of AR-15 manufacturers. It fits Magpul mags, or any other magazine fed semi-automatic rifle. It would be fits Magpul magazine. It's just the popularity of the magazine and the platform. Everybody's got them.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Well, yeah, to the extent that you've got other gun manufacturers that will customize their guns to run Glock magazines. Ruger and their pistol caliber carbine. You put in this little adapter and it'll run Glock magazines now.
It's like
Like,
building a
okay,
car that runs
Ruger,
on
don't you
regular.
make your own mags?
Good point.
Yeah, I can't get my brain ain't working right, so I'm batting 1,000. Thanks, Chico. It's Smyrna, not Snellville, but it's actually right between Marietta and Atlanta. You can walk in with your Glock and they'll pretty much rebuild it right there while you sit and wait. This is what I'm thinking. We see companies like Remington, Colt going out of business, being bought out by either conglomerates or foreign-owned businesses. While you see companies like Ruger that seem to be thriving. I throw Mossberg in there as well. Remington tried to make a living, and did for a long time, off of the 870 and the 700. And no new innovation, nothing new's coming up. Well, what they did with those R1s and all that kind of stuff. Oh, yeah, the 1911 R1, that was a pretty good one. That sold a good bit. So to me, the problem with these American companies, they're living in the past. They're not innovating. They're not coming up with new stuff. Ruger's always coming up with new stuff, always. And even Mossberg's got into the compact carry gun market now. So
What was that, MC1? Is that what that little compact was called? The MC1?
It seems like it, yeah.
Yeah. Anybody hear about that? I don't know. I mean, I know when they first came out, I saw a couple reviews on them, people saying they were fine, but I haven't seen anything since.
I held one at the you talking about, what was it? What you say, the little Mossberg pistol? Is that the one you were talking about? Yeah, Midnight Range and I were at a gun show in Pennsylvania a couple years ago, and I held it while he was doing a review on one. It's a really little gun. Like I'm not a big fan. I know Alan's got the EC9, I think, or the LC9 or something like that. It's similar to that, but smaller, and it felt more fragile to me. Midnight seemed to like it, and he's got a much bigger hand than me. He's a much bigger guy than me. I wasn't a big fan of it, though.
Yeah, I don't know one way or another. It never occurred to me to go look for them. See, I'm kind of one of those guys that I look at gun companies like car companies. Ford is good at trucks. They should stop building cars. Chrysler for the longest time was really good at minivans, but weren't real good at cars. Chevy is good at cars. As much as I like their trucks, they're really good at cars. And so on and so on. Toyota's really good at cars and trucks now. But that there was kind of a niche for these car companies, at least for a few decades. And I kind of look at some of these gun companies the same way. Mossberg, they build a good shotgun. Let's stick with the shotgun. Just keep going with the shotgun, and you'll be okay.
And that's the thing. A lot of these companies would still be doing really good in business or staying in business instead of being bought out if they stuck with what they know.
Yeah.
Right, but that's the same argument that people make about Glock. It's deeper than that, though. Nobody was asking for a Mossberg pistol. Nobody. Everybody's asking for a Glock carbine.
And and that's the one thing that really pisses me off about Glock. And it's pissed me off for years about Glock. They don't listen to the customer.
I would argue, this is just me, I would argue that there's a giant section of their customers that they listen to. And I base that on, there's a lot of people out there just like me that is fine with an all original equipment Glock. I would wager that the vast majority of Glocks out there in private ownership hands are all original equipment.
Yeah, I read a report. I read a report about 2 weeks ago that said that there was people going into the Remington plant and they were going in and building 870s. Don't know if they were creating new parts or if they were using all parts that were currently in existence. But that they had small groups of employees going in and specifically building 870s.
I saw that video too.
I didn't.
I don't doubt it.
I stopped buying Remington stuff, ammo and everything back after Sandy Hook. Anybody remember when the Obama administration came down with like their 12 or 21 or whatever it was, some crazy amount of gun control legislation they were going to pass right after Sandy Hook, and then all these gun companies, I think Beretta, Glock, Smith & Wesson, I think even Colt came out and said, we will no longer deal with you or the police if you pass this gun control legislation. Anybody remember that?
Yep, I remember.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. So it was in the middle of all that Remington accepted a massive government contract for rifles. I went, nope, like, I'm not dealing with you guys anymore.
Well, I didn't know I knew about the thing, but I didn't know about the details, like that the gun companies actually took a stand. So I'm glad that you mentioned that, because I've been thinking about this for a while during this conversation. Take California and Glock, just for example, just a state and a gun company. Don't you think it would be beneficial for Glock as a company and the 2A for Glock to say, look, California, we're just not doing business with you anymore, period. Whatever Glocks you got there, they could be sold, whatever. We will never, ever send another Glock pistol into your state ever again. No Glock t-shirts are coming there, no stickers, none of it. We will not do business with California. Is that me thinking like a radical, or
I
does
would
that
love that.
actually sound like a good idea?
I would love that.
You guys know who Ronnie Barrett is, right? When California said people of California can't own a Barrett 50, Ronnie said, well, I ain't selling it to law enforcement. RTT, you're exactly right. Look what Remington did, and look what happened to him too.
Well, I base a lot of my, so I won't deal with Ruger. I won't buy anything Ruger. I mean, I would, if somebody gave me like a
well,
GP
why not? Are you just saying that because of what old man Bill Ruger did back in the day? And when after he died, things changed a whole lot.
I know. And I mean, I can't let people forget what these companies have done to us in the past. And if that means that I don't support his legacy, then so be it. He, as far as I'm concerned, he dug that grave for his whole company and for the rest of the existence of that company.
I'll say this: one of the best things that ever happened to Sturm Ruger was him dying. That's sad. It's sad, but when after he died, they went, all right, his shit's out the window. We're going to do what we want to do. So, Bill Ruger,
nothing. It has stuck with me all this time.
Yep.
I won't deal with Ruger because of Bill Ruger. I won't deal with Remington because of the shit they did. I mean, and it goes down to stores, just like the same reason none of us will deal with Dick's or with Cheaper Than Dirt. It's for different reasons, but because in one way or another, we all recognize that they wronged not just gun owners in general, but the 2A community as a whole.
And one of the big things here, and it brings up a good point, and there's a lot of good discussion out there in the side chat. Stand for what you believe in. You guys have got to stand up for it. Matt standing up by, I won't buy this, I won't do this. You got to stand up for what you believe in. There's certain things. I mean, right now, with all the bullshit going on, if I walk into a store, for example, and they say I got to put a mask on, I walk right back out. I'm not going to comply with bullshit. I'm not going to give them my money. I'll go somewhere else that's happy for me to walk in as a free man in a free country, still free country at this point. Walk in there and pay for my shit and get out and not have to deal with that. So,
that's the same reason I won't go back into Sportsman's Warehouse. Or Sportsman's Warehouse for an entire year of this COVID bullshit with masks and all that other stuff. For an entire year, you didn't have to wear your mask in that place. At least the one here in Tucson.
Yep.
And I walked in there a month ago. And they're like, put your mask on. Like, what? Like, huh?
Right.
Apparently some Karen complained and they bent the knee. I'm like, well, I won't shop here anymore. You, instead of standing up for anything, you bent the knee. So I'm done. I've bought 3 guns from that place and who knows how many countless rounds of ammo.
But the whole point is stand for what you believe in. You got to stand up for it, and these companies ain't going to do it for you. Kingpin made a really good comment too. These companies ain't going to stand up for you. You have to stand for you.
It's effective. It's highly effective because these, especially in the woke culture and all this, when the NFL starts kneeling and calling everybody racist and calling everybody stupid and all that, they did it because a bunch of people who never watched football started complaining. The same people who hated football 5 minutes before Colin Kaepernick because it made men, mentally insane with the brain damage and it was violent and toxic masculinity are the same people that they got on their knee for and don't fly the flag and all this other kind of stuff and don't sing the national anthem anymore. And the people who watch stopped going. The people who watch to turn the TV off, and more are turning it off. So whether it's Ruger, whether it's Glock, whether it's the gas station down the street, if you're fed up with their crap, don't put up with their crap and punish. Let them suffer for it. Get your gas somewhere else. If you can't get gas, I get it. Stuff happens, whatever. I understand all that kind of stuff. But we've got the power to make these people do what we want because we're the ones that pay for everything. Those blue-haired liberals that are protesting out in front of their store don't shop there. They don't watch football. They don't buy guns. They don't eat meat. All this other kind of stuff that normal people do. 5 people are screwing it up for everybody, and we just let them.
You got a really good point that the problem is supposedly it's majority rules, but now it's minority is in control, and the general populace and people, everyday people, don't think like that. And you got 5 Karens out there complaining, and now it's going to change the world because 5 out of 5,000 want it their way. When it comes to the masks, it's all about control. And it's sad that companies and businesses think they have to put a sign on the door saying, hey, you can't come in here. And a lot of them, they put it on the door and don't even care. They put it on the door because their corporation said they had to, and they don't give a crap. So, it's all about control. I mean,
look, it's just simple. Like, okay, so I went to the post office here. What day did I send it to you, Alan? What, Thursday, Friday, something like that?
Yeah.
And I went in there and I was talking with a lady, and she stops at the end of the transaction and she leans over the counter and she goes, "Can I ask you something?" Real soft, real quiet, because she didn't want people in the back to hear. She goes, "Do you guys, I don't ever question you or give you any shit?" Like, yeah, they do. It's like, but it's rare. Like, you just gotta stand for what you believe. You walk in, I'm a free man. Stand tall, stand for what you actually feel, what you believe. It's my right to walk in and do what I want to fucking do. So I'm not breaking any fucking law. There's no law, period.
Can you brought up the masks earlier or just a minute ago? Can I read you something?
Mm-hmm.
This is the Blaze. Many states across the United States have rescinded their pandemic-related mandate requiring residents to wear face masks because the COVID-19 vaccines have been proven to be highly effective in combating the virus. But Oregon may go the complete opposite direction. A top Oregon health official is considering a permanent rule, according to the Associated Press, mandating social distancing and the use of face masks inside workplaces indefinitely. How do you like them apples? The new normal.
And the only way around this, and I've been saying this for the entire time this thing's been going on, do not comply. Mass non-compliance is the only way this ends.
Well, let's start with a mask, and then where do we go? And what more control? And yeah, I know yeah. I said, they're taking the minority and making it mainstream, supposedly majority. And I'm sorry, this whole scamdemic is just crap to me anyway. Nobody had the flu this year. They all got COVID. And if you look at the COVID virus, oh, gee, you got a 1% less survival rate than you do if you catch the flu. What? Oh, let's shut down the world for it. Pandemic.
Anyway, let's move on. Let's go.
Yeah, let's move on.
Yeah, I just got done last weekend with spending the entire weekend with CNN, and they tried trapping me with a couple of those kind of questions like, do you think They asked me about the Michigan governor, the plan to kidnap the Michigan governor, what I thought about that. And I said, well, I don't know much about that particular situation. I said, but whether it seems like it now or not, I do believe the American people have a line in the sand, and there's going to be a point in time where when you're a politician of any sort that just refuses to let go of this, like, power hungry madness that you're under, like the Michigan governor, that eventually the people will take it into their own hands. When that is, how that is, and what it'll look like, I couldn't tell you. But I said there's a point in time. I said 240 years ago it happened. I said it can happen again.
Not going to disagree at all.
That's the big thing. You gotta draw your line,
And so how did that whole thing go for you this round?
So
did you get a lot of filming of them done?
Oh, I got a bunch of pictures of them. While I was getting interviewed, my guys were taking pictures of them. But it went well. I think it's supposed to air in like October, I think. You guys will know.
Wow, let's hold it off for a few more months. Holy crap, October?
Well, that's the beginning of the next season. So they're currently filming the next season of shows.
Oh, okay.
And so, yeah. It
might be old news by then.
They spend the fall and spring interviewing people, doing their shows. The summer, while the year before is airing, and then the summer making the shows, producing things, editing and, formatting and all that. And then they air it in the fall again and start, filming for the next year.
Yeah, because they need time to edit anything that you said or did into whatever fashion that they need it for.
Nail on head there.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, but a general overall, you think it went well?
Well, yeah, it went well because I didn't let her get away with anything. So, like, she asked what I thought about, we talked about gun control, right? And I said something about, if you're really worried about lives, let's talk about more than just guns. Let's talk about all the things that are commonly used to take a life, especially those things that are used far more often than something like an AR-15, like hammers, clubs, and fists and feet and cars and things like that. She goes, well, we license cars. I said, well, we can have the car conversation about licensing of cars when you show me in the Bill of Rights where my right to drive and own a car shall not be infringed. But until you show me that line, in the Constitution, then the comparison, I don't want to have that conversation. We're not going to have that conversation. But if you're willing to, if you're willing to do a macro picture of everything, then we can talk about it all. But if you only want to go after one little thing, then you're showing your hand, and it's about the tool that you're going after, not the lives you're saving.
Yep, that's exactly it. That's all they ever try to do.
And so, like, those are the kind of answers she got.
It's good. That's good.
I just wonder how much will get edited out, and they will cut and paste where they want.
Well, this is my second time. This is my second time with the same people, and the first time actually went well, which is the only reason we agreed to the second time.
Yeah, the same people that spout gun control. If it saves one child's life, they're pro-abortion, and I'm like, is that an oxymoron?
Oh, she is pro-abortion, and we had this conversation last time she was out with us. She's pro-abortion. We had that conversation, and I asked her, why do you want to kill me? And she said, what are you talking about? I said, you're one of those people that celebrate abortions. She goes, well, I celebrate a woman's right to do with her body what she pleases. I said, that includes killing the baby inside her, because the baby's going to be a burden because you're not prepared to be a mother. I said, I'm adopted. Why do you want to kill me?
Yeah.
And she had nothing.
Yeah.
She had nothing.
Yep.
I said, my biological mother was 18 years old, had no business having a child. There was no father in the picture. So why do you want to kill me? Nothing. Crickets.
That's the problem, though. They don't think like that. They just think one way. They have a one mindset, and that's it. They don't want to listen to anyone else's opinion. So when you're able to get someone like that, and you're able to get your point across, it really makes them think.
Yep. Like the car conversation came up again. He said, she said something to the effect of, we have laws, regulating cars, speed limits, things like that. She wasn't going down the licensing route anymore, but insurance, speed limits, things like that. And I said, you know why? I said, you know what the difference between carrying a gun and driving a car is? She said, what? I said, driving a car is always dangerous. There is no such thing as driving a car passively. But every time you carry a gun, it's passive. It doesn't become not passive until you unholster it.
Safest place in your holster.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, look, I drive big truck for a living, and I've probably got more miles under my belt than a lot of people. And I'm telling you what, if I could have write a ticket for all the dumb crap I see and just get $1, I could have retired by now, but that's not my job. I sit in my driver's seat and I go, yep. And luckily I get to carry my gun on the job, which is cool. But it's like people compare driving to gun ownership, just boggles my mind. You know what I mean? It's like you made it perfectly clear. Show me in the Bill of Rights. Well, that was before cars were invented. So could you make people not run over other people with a wagon?
But they actually turn that conversation around all the time. Oh, well, they weren't thinking of ARs when they created the Second Amendment. They were thinking blunderbuss.
There was I'm trying to remember the name of the gun, but actually it wasn't a Gatling gun. It was some other gun that was invented. Puckle gun. Was that it?
Yeah.
The Puckle? Yeah, that's what I was thinking. And it's like, come on, really? And look, they say, well, they weren't thinking of that. You know something? Our founding fathers, they knew the guns they had at the time, and they knew that 100 years before that, or maybe a little longer, we were using bows and arrows and spears. Weapons are going to evolve. They did not say guns. They said arms.
But she, that was one of the things that we talked about. She said, do you like my beard, Wes? You like that?
Man, he's really liking your beard.
But she said something about the design of the gun. Guns are designed to kill people. I said, you're right. Well, she said kill. She didn't say people. Guns are designed to kill, whether it's animals, people, or whatever. I said, you're right. They are. I said, but so is a rock tied to a rope. So is a sword. So is a spear. So is a bow and arrow. I said, how far do you want to go with this? How far do you want to go where design is the defining factor at which you judge something? I said it would seem to me that if you have something that's designed for a thing to kill, let's take the AR-15 since that's your favorite gun to pick on. The gun that is designed to kill, but is used far more often in defense than in offense. And additionally, other items that are not designed to kill are used so much more efficiently and effectively more often than that thing that is designed to. Why does the design matter? Why does the design? If I make something that's designed, I told her, if I make something that's designed to boil water, but it's so much more effective at freezing water, does it matter what the design is?
you're exactly right. Look at how many people were killed with hammers, baseball bats, golf clubs, bare hands, the whatever the hell somebody picks up, a kitchen knife. No, it wasn't designed to kill. Well, it did anyway. And the other thing that gets me too is they like to throw into the gun death statistics is suicide. And I'm sorry, people been killing themselves long before there was ever a firearm. If you want to do it, you're going to do it.
The thing is, yeah, and every study shows that somebody that is hell bent on suicide is going to do it one way or the other. Whether the presence or lack of a firearm does not affect that number. Same thing with murders. The presence or lack of a firearm does not affect that number. And in fact, hammers, for instance, are used far more often than something like an AR-15. And guns in general. There's about 15,000 intentional homicides every year. Okay, that's a lot of people. But there's, on the conservative side, on the conservative end, about 500,000 defensive uses every year. So I would say it's far more humanitarian to let people keep their guns, because that's 500,000 conservatively, 500,000 lives that are saved because of guns versus the 15,000 that are taken. And if you want to go on liberal estimates, it's up to 3 million times that they're used in self-defense. So to take guns from people, from law-abiding citizens, or make it harder, more expensive, or outright just unattainable for a law-abiding citizen is cruel.
Well, and see, the key word there is take. They want to take. It's not, to prevent. They want to take, period. It's nothing to do with prevention. We all know this.
It's all about control, brothers. It's all about control. Just look at the highest crime rates and where gun laws are the toughest, and they'll Chicago or whatever, and they'll say, oh well, because they brought the guns in from out of the jurisdiction. Something, it doesn't matter. The point is your city says this is illegal. So the guy on do you think they care? Are you stupid? The genie's out of the box. You can't uninvent guns. You can't uninvent. Something. When I talk to these people, I said, well, why don't we just make evil illegal? Let's just ban evil. Won't that stop everything?
Well, I love the argument that the guns, like Chicago, that's always said about Chicago, that the Chicago violence is because they bring guns in from out of state. Like, if that was true, if that was a fact, then why is northern Indiana not riddled with gun violence? Right? Like Chicago is, because it's not true.
There's massive chunks of Europe where firearms are completely illegal. And Bald and Curious said it last week. Go into some of these sections. There is thousands upon hundreds of thousands of guns in these sections. Just because they're old doesn't mean they don't work. Banning the gun is just one of the most idiotic things that they'll ever come up with, because evil will always be evil, and it will always figure out a way to kill another man. We've been killing man since the beginning of his written history.
I love this. I love South America. South America, basically all of South America is private ownership's banned, essentially banned in all of South America. Every country in South America has a far higher murder rate with firearms than the United States. So liberals have one of two things that they can say. They can either say that gun control doesn't work, or that South Americans are less evolved than we are.
Well, coming from the wonderful state of
They're not going
Maryland,
to say either.
Maryland's just about as far away from El Salvador as you can get. I know there's other states neat, but Maryland's pretty far away from the southern border in South America. Northern Virginia, if you're out there, you can join in on this conversation. MS-13, the 13-year-olds in MS-13 like to hack you apart with machetes after they've raped you, and then they rape your dead body too, just for the hell of it. So, what gun control is going to stop the people, 30 minutes down the road from me that will chop you into little pieces with a knife.
Simple fact is laws only affect law-abiding citizens. The people that are going to break the laws don't give a shit about whatever law you're going to pass. You can pass whatever gun law, and a criminal is just going to say, screw you, I don't care. I'm still going to get my illegal gun, buy it this way, buy it that way. I'm still going to do my crime. They don't care. It's a fallacy.
I've said it many, many times. I come from a country where they took the guns. It didn't solve a fucking thing. We're literally to the point now. I was talking to my brother last week, and they now have to have a license for airsoft. It's retarded.
I told this woman, I said, and Armin, actually, I said something similar to her. I said, why is it that you, and I pointed to her, why is it that you have to get a expensive license, go through a mental health evaluation, pay a $200 tax stamp, which is what ultimately Joe Biden wants to do, a $200 tax stamp, and have to go through all of these different laws and regulations for something that's outlined as a right for you to own because somebody 3,000 miles away did a bad thing. Why are you punished for that? I said, in fact, why is it that in New Jersey a few years ago, a woman was denied her right to own a firearm, and that week, her ex-husband that she was scared to death of, the reason she wanted to get a gun, broke into her house and beat her to death. Why is that woman dead? Because of the policies you want to put in place.
So you bring up an excellent point. So now this gentleman they want to put in for the ATF made a comment, and his comment was about when someone gets denied, that most people who get denied go out and commit a crime. And so this is where this is going. They want to put it to where they no longer have to have where you're innocent until proven guilty. If you get denied, they want to come and arrest you. That is his plan. If he gets the position, that's what he wants to put in place.
So if you go do the background check and you get denied, they're going to come and get you. Is that what you're saying?
That's what he wants to do.
You're immediately put onto the list, and they're going to come check you out.
I know at least 5 people that got denied for stupid reasons, and this has been 15, 20 years ago when all this started, and they were, hey, Scott 79, pre-crime. What's that, Minority Report? Yeah.
Yep.
No, I know at least 5 people that got denied, and they had to fight it, and the reason they got denied was total and complete crap, and then they finally were allowed. But seriously.
All right, Jamie, go ahead, brother. Say something.
I wanting to know what you guys know about there's an act out now, Freedom. For the People Act, the For the People Act. Are y'all familiar with this at all? Has anybody heard anything about it?
So the For the People Act, that is basically has nothing to do with us whatsoever. When the For the People Act is where it's going to essentially be easier to keep themselves in power, is what that is. They call it For the People Act, but it really has nothing to do with us whatsoever. It's all about keeping themselves in power.
Well, I saw a commercial about it, and it was talking about ensuring one person, one vote, kind of like the law we passed here in Georgia, and they're making us to be the redheaded stepchild of the country. Also, I'll do some research on it, and we'll talk more about it next week. It seemed interesting to me.
Yeah.
I didn't follow much of that. Was that them telling us we're all racist because of the new laws? Is that part of that? I mean, I know there's stuff down there in Georgia going on that they're protesting and Jim Crow laws and we're all racist because these new laws.
Well, they passed a law in our state, the General Assembly, and signed by the government. It is now law. The governor signed it. It's basically no more that you're going to have a reason if you're going to vote on an absentee ballot. Mail-in ballots will require signature verification. If you're going to vote at the polls in person, you're going to have an ID. And look, guys, you have to have an ID to do a lot of stuff, like to cash a check, check out a book at the library. You got to have an ID, to get your money from your job. You got to have an ID. So I don't see that. That's a big deal, but they're calling it voter suppression.
Calling it racist. They're calling it racist, which is
yeah.
All right, we're at that hour. We're gonna start going through the room, and before we do that, though, Alan, you want to run through the side chat one last time? We got plenty of people still out there.
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. Great, everybody joined us today. It's been going really well over there. Anna Lee Brown out there, Mr. Bald and Curious, Billy the Truth, Brody 556, Fuzz Fork 8, Idaho Rogers USMC, Michael Ray, Reloading from the Hot Pot, Scott 79, Wes S, White Space Marines. It's just been raging over there. Thank you everybody for coming in. Michael Ray again. Yeah, Bearded CB. Yeah, I would keep elaborating, but we're gonna head out of here soon.
All right. We'll start going through the room. We'll start with you, Chris.
Dang it, I was busy going to the side chat and was going to type. Hey, thanks for the invite. Good to see everybody. Sorry, Jamie, I talked too much. Good conversation tonight. We had a lot of good conversation about a lot of good things. I hope people out there are paying attention. Wake up. Really, I mean, what's going on around us? It's the minority leading the majority, and it's getting crazy. But yeah, good to see y'all. Thanks for the invite. Peace to all. Stay 2A strong. Love you guys.
All right, thank you, brother. Kingpin.
Thanks for having me. Everybody in the chat, thanks for hanging out. Everybody on the panel, appreciate you letting me pick your brains tonight.
Awesome. Always good to see you, man. Matt?
What?
We're signing out, buddy. What you got?
Thanks for having me. If you guys didn't know, I recently got another ban from Instagram. So I'm back down to just YouTube and a couple of the other B tier social media sites like MeWe and Parler and stuff like that. Other than that, thanks for having me on. It was a good time. Sorry I didn't make it last week. It was a little busy.
Oh, you're good. Can't always make everyone. Appreciate it. Jamie?
Thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it. A very active conversation this evening, which is always a good thing. Lots of good comments out in the side chat. Thanks for joining us, everybody. And y'all can join us on Friday nights at the Georgia Shooting Connection, 8 o'clock. Thanks for having me again, man. Fun time.
Always good to have you, brother. For those of you out there that haven't seen the video I put up Friday, if you want a chance to get your hands on an AR put together by me, make sure you go check that video out. Please do so. Go help out Bill Melton. Again, he is suffering from leukemia, and we're just trying to help him out with some bills a little bit here and there. So please go check that video out. If you haven't checked out the Glock video too, go check that out. And with that being said, I'm going to throw it over to Alan to take us out.
Oh man. And also I saw Coda Boy announce that the 6.5 Creedmoor that's going to go towards Justin's final mission, he's going to get dialed in, and that one's going to be on the plate shortly. Just it looks absolutely sweet, man. The side chat's been absolutely popping. Had a great panel here, other than armament and access. I'd like to thank you all, and Kingpin, I'm sorry we didn't have any commercials for you.
Really,
it is what it
Alan.
is.
Really, Alan. Really.
Try harder next time.
But looking forward to my week. There will be a lot more of the same, a whole lot of nothing on my channel, because, well, when you're staying under the radar, you're staying under the radar. But nevertheless, as always, please, if you're letting illegal aliens stay at your hotel, kick them all out. I don't give a shit how much they're fucking paying you. Keep your magazines loaded and one in the chamber. Woo!